Hi everyone, this is Board Games and Bourbon. I'm Glenn Flaherty, and we're going to talk about Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition, my thoughts about why it's really not made for new players. Valeria Card Kingdom's Darksworn, and before we go too far, let's get into day drinking here with our Four Roses single barrel. Now, this is by Four Roses Distillery, and for a while they were in trouble, but then they were saved, and they're probably most notably known for, up until recently, making Bullet. They make 4 different kinds of whiskey, and they're blended in different ways. And Bullet was a commissioned one that was a blend. One of my favorite whiskeys, by the way. But this one here is their single barrel. It's a little bit more syrupy. You're going to taste those notes that you have in Bullet. I would almost say on the back end, there's almost like a very light, almost citrusy, a tinge mixed in with a cola. A very good whiskey indeed. If you're looking for one that's a little step above what you normally get, go ahead and give that a try. Four Roses single barrel. Now, these 2 games that I have here really were a contrast of experiences for me. So with the Valeria Card Kingdom's Darksworn, this is an expansion to Valeria. Now, Valeria actually started out kind of as a Machi Koro game, except it worked better. And Machi Koro, you could just get hosed with the die and have nothing to do or get penalized. They corrected it, and Daily Magic corrected it, and they made it a game where even if nothing occurred, you might get something. No one could just get hosed. It was a lot of fun, and the art was great too. Well, they've come out with a ton of expansions, and in particular, this weekend I was playing Shadow Veil, which is their horror expansion. Great art, really draws into the world using a playmat that has this beautiful backdrop, and it's like you're entering this torrential environment. And then I was playing the Darksworn campaign, and this is a kind of like a one about Beast, and it's getting more gnarly as you move along. I'm in book 2 of it so far, and boy, what a great experience. Basically what's happening is you're going on this adventure, and there's these little cards that change gameplay, but also there's a story about why you're doing it and what's occurring. So everything that's going on in the game feels very thematic and very tied in, and you're trying to survive. It's not even about having the most points, whereas Valeria normally, like Machi Koro or like Space Base, an awesome game, is competitive. This changes it to be a cooperative experience, and I just love it. You feel the pressure. These beasts are coming. The beasts are activated. You roll some die, your cards are activated. The same die will activate the beast. The beasts attack the walls, trying to kill your citizens. If your citizens run out, you lose the game. You might get overrun. You have these goals you have to do, and several of them in a row that you have to accomplish. Along the way, there are animals that are doing extra nasty things, but you can also mitigate it because you might kill a beast and it gives you victory points, but you can spend those victory points to do certain things that can circumvent the situation. Wow, what a great game. The only problem I would say with the game is that there's a lot of setup. You have to put out a bunch of citizens that you get to buy in a market. So you have to go through the deck, you have to get the right ones, and then you have to choose the right number, and then make sure it doesn't have that symbol because that symbol is not compatible with this expansion, So there is a setup, but once you get past that, it's a really great game. Highly recommended. I also play Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition. Okay, so I bought this one. I forget if I got it at Target or Amazon, but it has nice double thick boards. The art is great. Now, I've played Terraforming Mars, the old version, the OG, a handful of times. Enough that I'm familiar with what goes on, but I don't remember the ins and outs, and I would not say I'm an expert at all. Now, this one here I got because that one didn't speak to me. That game, I had an issue with the fact that the ending was open-ended. It's been a slog. The first few games I played where I was a new player, the other people with me knew what they were doing, so they just had endless turns going around and around, and if you aren't familiar with Terraforming Mars, you just keep going until you have nothing to do each round. And so I'm just sitting there because I didn't know how to combine my cards, just twiddling my thumbs while these people are going around and around and around, having endless more things to do. And then you don't know when the end of the game is because it has to hit a certain temperature, and stuff like that to end the game. So it really didn't speak to me. I heard this was the faster version, and it combined this with elements from San Juan Race to the Galaxy. Now, for my tastes, I love San Juan. It's so clean and easy and fast. I can show it to anyone. We can start playing right away. Race to the Galaxy actually, to me, did too many things, and especially with their expansions, it became so overwrought with things to do and symbols to follow. I thought the cleanliness and the effectiveness of what it was trying to do kind of got lost. And if I wanted to play something with that much more thought, I don't want to play a game where what people choose to do determines what cards they play, determines what I'm able to do. Because in Race to the Galaxy, you have to play cards, and then only if certain cards are played will those phases of a round come out. So that didn't really thrill me. If that's going to be involved, I'd rather the simpler, faster version of San Juan. But nonetheless, that element is supposed to be in Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition. Now, that part I didn't mind, although I wouldn't say it's like a card draft, but in that way, it slows down the gameplay. It was said that it was supposed to be a lot faster. It is not a lot faster. I heard it was not as much of a table hog with putting down a bunch of cards. It's just as much as a table hog from my experience. And I'm still looking around at all the cards, and I have to say it still has some of the shortcomings, and even one more shortcoming in the game than the original. The shortcomings I see are, once again, the ending is based on the tiles get flipped and the temperature hits a certain point, so you don't know when that's going to occur. You still have cards and symbols, and you're trying to make sure when this hits that, and all that stuff. You have these player boards that are supposed to track what you do, but some of the wording hasn't been cleaned up. So, they'll say things like, produce this, but gain that. And if I gain heat, I produce heat. Oh, those are two different words. However, some places it's called produce heat, and other times it's called heat production. And so even though they're all kind of shades of each other, and you would associate perhaps I produce 3 heat with production of heat, to me, when I hear produce 3 heat, that means, oh, I got 3 heat, I'm going to put it on my board. Whereas production means I have some mechanism that will trigger in the future. But they're often analogous. And also, produce 3 heat, gain 3 heat are kind of similar terms. So you have to get that wording right when you play. Another thing is you're going to get those cards, and some cards you can't do anything with early, and some you can do right away. Some synergize, some don't. That was a problem I always had with the game, just getting a handful of cards, and half of them I can't even use right now because they don't trigger until certain things on the boards occur. That's what Underwater Cities fixed, and why I like Underwater Cities so much. It has a staggered deck, and it makes a little bit more sense on the card play. The other thing when I played the game too is I'm not so certain that the cards are really that compelling. I have certain cards that can't be played until things on the board occur. So I'm saying to myself, why am I raising the temperature? Why am I raising the oxygen on the board? What it really seems like to me is I'm doing it only to end the game, and I'm doing it only to use other cards. I'm not even sure those other cards are actually that more impactful, and ultimately I don't think it's that much more interesting. So this game, unfortunately, doesn't solve the problems of the traditional Terraforming Mars to me. And I like San Juan more than this with the Race for the Galaxy idea blended in. But I will say it's a beautiful game. It does play a little quicker, so that's good. And I guess if you like Terraforming Mars, maybe there's something here for you. But probably one of the most problematic parts about it is the rulebook. The rulebook is totally written for people who already played Terraforming Mars. If you're picking this off the shelf at Target, I think you're going to be pretty stuck on what to do. Like, for example, it uses a lot of the initials that don't make sense, and then you have to look in the margins to kind of figure out what you're going to do. And even to the degree where it says play a card. All right, well, what does play a card mean? It'll say play a card. What does play a card mean in this game? Does that mean I do what's on the card? Do I show other people what the card says? Do I keep it private? Do I put it down in front of me? Do I do what's on the card and then discard it? It doesn't tell you. You either have to come with that information from previously having played, or you divine it by pulling little sentences here and there. And really the only one sentence in this game that told you keep the card is that there's like a tip in a margin somewhere and says, to save space with your cards, stack them on top of each other. Oh, okay. That means in this version, they want you to keep your cards. But you had to kind of like make assumptions. So I don't know. I'll give it a few more shots. I've been playing it solo, I should say. And the solo does work very easily. You're going to get phase cards. And basically you pick a phase that you want to occur and the AI picks a phase. And then once the AI is out of all of its cards, you move again. And there's going to be 5 times where the AI goes to the cards. And that's really it. So I do appreciate how well that's made. So there are good aspects. But again, I don't think it's going to win you over. If you didn't like the original Terraforming Mars, I don't think this is going to do it either. Anyway, so it's been a brief week, and that's what we got. Valeria Card Kingdoms, big thumbs up. Terraforming Mars, give it a shot if you like. Give it a shot. If you like Terraforming Mars, you might like it more. If you wanted to dip your feet into Terraforming Mars, maybe. I don't think it's better than either. Okay, and until next time, friends, take care. Bye.